Well, thank you so much. First of all, to the organizers for the invitation. As always, in the beginning, there are a few caveats that I have to say. I come from a completely different perspective than yours. I come from a political science perspective, and I'm not a legal scholar. Neither do I dare to speak in legal terms. There's absolutely no way that I would speak, or I would try at least to speak in legal terms. But I am a political scientist, more narrowly, really. I am a political theorist. So I'll say a few things that I've learned from these two presentations, plus something that I have prepared. My idea for this is to try to explain to legal scholars, as you are, where do I see this rule of crisis, this crisis of the rule of law is actually coming from, and why are the judges subjected to the treatments that we have just heard of, and there's not all. First of all, where do I see judges, and what is their role? My way of accepting, or my way of reasoning about society, whereby obviously judiciary plays an essential part, is what I call in a theory what is called a Republican political theory. Now, by the way, this has nothing to do with Republican political party. It is a political theory. Now, Republican political theory has a version of liberty that is especially important when we speak of the judiciary, the judges, in particular. And this is not your usual negative liberty or positive liberty or whatever, but it's a different vision of the liberty. And the liberty in this sense goes that I am free to live in a society with the kinds of political institutions, including judiciary, of course, that guarantee me as a citizen non-interference, but that has to be done resiliently and over time. So it needs to be done always and over time. So this is where issues that you were addressing just now in the past two papers come into question, because obviously there is no such resilience. In other words, this means that also my liberties as a citizen, not just liberties of the judges, are severely or are curtailed in this respect, because I see judges as actually someone who guarantees me freedoms, because the decisions are supposed to be just, and when they are just, they're also in terms of my freedom. So therefore, this freedom, and where I see judges, and where I see a particular problem in terms of rule of law crisis, is that I can only obtain that kind of freedom. This is not the only freedom that I have, but I can only obtain this kind of freedom through their free work. Okay, so this is my first point. What we are actually facing. So the question is how to achieve this. I was just talking prior to coming here to my students and telling them that unfortunately we are not currently in some historical period where we would be extremely positive, or where we would be optimistic about the future. Sadly, we are moving the other way. In this sense. So rather, the situation is getting worse. say it nationally, say it internationally. What we are seeing and what the people have been experiencing in other countries around is what we call populism. Now, the simplest explanation of why this is happening, I always say, populism is about ticking boxes. Whatever box is there, whatever institutions have been established, whatever, you as a person of political power, you just kick boxes. So that they just, they're just thrown around the space. And this is the populism that is simply there. In other words, in more scientific words, we're talking about dismantling of all established institutions. This is what populism does. Why does it do? Because in some respect, because it can, because we have not built in our democratic societies, we have not built proper resistance, including the judiciary. And secondly, because obviously people have been either, they can say convinced, or you can say manipulated, or whatever. People have been, in a sense, they demand this to happen. Why they demand? Because they want quick, they want easy, they want just solutions, which are, they don't want long justifications. They don't want long reasoning. They want quick and easy solutions. And that's why populists come in, because they promise quick and easy solution. And quick and easy solution is kicking boxes. This is what they do. They just simply dismantle just about any established or well-established institutions. They do this in the name of efficiency. Apparently, our systems, including judicial systems, are inefficient. Why they're inefficient? They're actually not inefficient, but they are inefficient because they make them look inefficient, because they say that they are inefficient because we don't get to quick judges, because there are long queues of cases, etc., etc., etc. It's not that they would be inefficient. Some things take time. Some judgments take time. People need to think. People, there's a merit to that. But because the populists want quick solutions, they do that, and they press all the time. And what we are listening to is exactly this. It's a pressure on judiciary in this sense for easy solution, away from the quality solutions, away from any other forms of taking decisions. Why? Well, because it serves their purpose. That's the problem. Another thing, why populism is so much influencing, and when I say populism, please, it's left and right. They're both populists. They can both be populists. It's not just so it has nothing to do with politics as such. It's just that both can be populist. Why are they doing this? First of all, it has to do with what we call in political science distributional inequalities. There are people that are left behind, and there are people that, in judicial terms, are waiting for the decisions for ages. Some decisions we understand to take time, but some decisions could have been taken, but are simply not taken. Now, for whichever reason. And people feel this as inequality. And then you have populists coming and saying, we'll solve these inequalities. We will curtail judges' rights. We will make them, work differently, blah, blah, blah. And you know how the story goes. So there is a resentment. This is where we get to resentment of the people towards, let's say, judicial elite. Because people, instead of seeing them as guarantors, as I have said in the beginning, instead of seeing judges as guarantors of their liberties, they rather resent them. They rather resent them for not doing, apparently not doing their work. I'm not saying that they're not doing their work, but apparently not doing their work. And then this resentment goes on because they see them as, usually they see them as some kind of liberal elite, etc., usually urban, liberal elite, secluded somewhere there on their, from the rest of the people on their thrones, and apparently they're not doing their. Now, again, this is not a position that I take. I'm just trying to describe what populism as such does. And this rule of law crisis is, the simple answer is, why do we have this rule of law crisis? Well, because of at least several of the reasons that I have tried to spell out. First of all, we no longer see judges, at least the way I see them, no longer see them as guarantors of that liberty. Second of all, populism has kicked in. Distributional inequalities are influencing relations towards any elites, and judges are elites in this respect. And thirdly, obviously, because political forces that are strong are trying to exert the pressure. Why they want to exert the pressure? Because they don't want opposition. Silent or not silent, in judgments or in extra legal documents, in preliminary judgments or not, they see this as an opposition, because no longer there is this competition, or no longer there is this healthy competition between, if we may say, branches of the government or whatever. No longer there is this vision that we all work together towards freedom and realization of people's potential, etc., etc. They see this as an attack, and because they portray it and because they see it as an attack, they will continue to do so unless, as we have heard in these two presentations, there is a clear and very clear resistance. So, and there are instruments at disposal. There are things where judges can work differently, and we have seen two beautiful examples how they can do it. But to my opinion, again, it's just my unpolitical science, I'm not a legal scholar, it's just a little humble opinion. Without a general agreement, and that is not just judicial sector, but without a general agreement on what we want to do in a society, which values do we want to uphold, how we want things to function, there will be these kinds of attacks. They will continue, unless there is this kind of an agreement on where we are and what each and every one of us does in a society. There is some kind of a consensus about it. We will continue to face issues. That's why I always say I support judges in speaking out in any shape or form, because this is an actual resistance. But it's not so much about resistance. It's about where I have started, and that is about maintaining freedom. This is what it is about, not just their freedom, but freedom of the society. So this would be my position. That's why you want judges to speak out, either in judgments or in any other form, because this is how we maintain freedom. Because I can only maintain freedom through someone who does that. But maybe to finish because I was a mixture of positive and rather negativistic mode. Will there be more pressure? Yes, sadly, I think there will be more pressure. But then also new forms of resistance, something that we heard just now, will be developed, and from there on, I think we can move the whole thing forward to a consensus that might be the same as we had it before, or consensus that might be new on what are the functions of each of these either professions or parts of the society, but for the society, not as a. Okay, I'll finish here. Thank you so much. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not from the legal profession.